Hello, I'm Darren Moore from the University of Exeter. I led the Implementation in Education Evidence Review that informed the Education Endowment Foundation's A School Guide to Implementation Guidance Report. In this video, I'm going to talk about sustainability in relation to school implementation. We will look at how sustainability as a process for implementation in schools is different to sustain as a later phase of implementation, and also different to an intervention being sustained as a goal or outcome. Sustainability is important because despite the amount of time and effort that goes into running an intervention in schools, new programs are often not sustained beyond the initial funding of a research study, even if the evidence suggests the program is effective. Once pupil outcomes have been measured and the research study ends, it is often assumed that the approach stops being used, or sustaining its use is very challenging without the existing support. But this isn't just the case for programs introduced through research studies. Often, there may not be a plan beyond the initial delivery of a new approach, or indecision about continuing after a program has had beneficial effects. This lack of sustainment greatly limits the potential benefits of programs for children and young people. Some researchers describe sustainability as the end goal of an intervention, a state to be reached, while others say that it is important to view sustainability as a process that happens over time. We think both definitions make sense, but it's important to distinguish between the two of them. Researchers sometimes call the outcome of sustained delivery sustainment. They describe it as the continuation of intervention activities in a recognisable form after external support has been withdrawn. A term more often used is that an intervention has been sustained. Sustain, as an implementation phase, is the point in time after which delivery has started, after which it is supported, adaptations are made, and implementation and intervention outcomes are closely monitored. In the sustain phase, the approach is business as usual, with systems to support its continued use for the long-term and ongoing monitoring processes. Sustainability, though, is both the process to get there and an assessment of how well an approach can deliver benefits over an extended period. Sustainability, then, is the bigger picture, the dynamic process that incorporates concepts of capacity building, change, and evolution. It's less focused on whether an intervention is sustained, but more how that point has been reached, and what the ongoing support looks like to keep the approach part of the fabric of the school, and so its benefits continue to be seen or maintained over time. The key message then is that sustainability and what we need to do to sustain an approach over time cannot only be considered after we have explored, prepared, and started to deliver an approach. Sustainability needs to be part of the thinking from day zero when assessing needs in the setting. Ask yourself, how can we address this need so there are improved outcomes after 2 years? When we select an approach, how will this be part of typical practice in the school in 5 years' time? Some ideas for attending to or improving sustainability from the outset include the following. Firstly, accountability at all levels. That there is equal responsibility for making sure the chances of sustaining a new approach are increased, from school leaders to those delivering an intervention and even funders beyond the school. More focus on evidence-based practice. Carefully selecting an approach from a range of options that is both evidence-informed and fits the school setting, so there is less need to be switching to a different intervention later. Creating capacity over the long term for those leading and putting a new approach into practice. School staff might be able to go above and beyond in the short term, but if an approach needs to be led and requires ongoing planning and preparation for the foreseeable future, then staff are going to need time. Having multiple champions who support and promote a new approach. This can help build resilience to change, and also help collaboration between those leading on an approach. Make sure everyone is on board. They know about the new intervention and why the school is doing it. Share common language and practice in relation to the new approach. There may be differences in how an approach is applied, but this shared language can help maintain consistency to core components. Realistic expectations and timeframes. It may take some time to see pupil outcomes. It may be that as everyone adjusts to a new approach, we see an implementation dip, where things may look worse for a while. This is normal. New approaches tend to take longer to embed than people think. Sometimes it can be hard to judge how well sustainability has translated into an approach that has been sustained for some time. So it can therefore be helpful to assess sustainment at different levels. At the individual pupil level, can pupils still tell you what the key ideas of the restorative practice approach are? And can they give examples of when they or peers experienced it recently? At the school or teacher level, are there regular meeting items to share challenges and good practice that are fed to the behaviour lead? Do new staff access training to introduce the concepts behind the approach? Beyond the school, are there connections with other schools using a similar approach? Does the behaviour lead still communicate with the researcher who led the initial trial of this approach? Do staff from other schools visit to see the approach in action? This is all helpful when we think about education settings, as schools are also constantly evolving and adapting. Most staff will be sustaining an approach, but there will be new pupils and staff who need to prepare to use it for the first time. There may also be opportunities to share practices with other schools who may be at different points in the journey. Thanks for watching. Now you know what sustainability as a process is, you might like to check out our sustainability planning checklist and our sustainability assessment tool. You can find these and other implementation resources on our website. Please get in touch with us there.